How are you? I hope that you've been safe.
I have been safe, and I hope you have been safe too. And welcome to my Harlem portraits. And especially we are here with you, Inez Dickens, because we have to congratulate you for your re-election at the State Assembly for the 70th District that you've been representing since 2016. And I'm so happy that you're going to be representing us again.
Well, Maria, thank you so much. And I thank the entire community for their support, their insight, their love, their prayers. They're telling me when I'm doing right and when they're encouraging me when I'm doing right and letting me know what I'm doing wrong. I'm very, very grateful to my community. You can't be everything to everyone individually. You can only do the best you can collectively. And that's what I have done. I'm a child of Harlem, and so I've done the very best that God has allowed me to do. So I just wanted to say to the community, thank you. Thank you for again entrusting me with this representation to represent you in the New York State Assembly.
And let's put it this way, your very best is pretty good. So that's why you have that again. And we are very happy that you represent us.
You know what? Because I got 90% of my district, 90% of my district wanted me to return to represent them, 90%.
Yes.
And that means that hopefully I'm doing something right.
Oh, we know you're doing something right. We know, we who are on the other side, on the receiving side, we know what you've been doing all your life. You dedicated your life to the public service and to serving your community.
Struggle hard, but it's something I really enjoy doing. I want to do. It's something I want to do, something I enjoy doing. And so, you know, I'm very grateful that I've been entrusted with this honor.
We are going to talk today about the situation we're in, and let's start to what you want to do, what your first moves in Albany will be now that we are starting with this new legislature.
Well, you know, it's the on the federal level, the Democrats lost one of the Democratic senators, and then there was one or two congresspersons like Max Rose in Staten Island, Democrat lost. But the House will hold on to its majority. The question is about the Senate. Yes, the Senate remaining in the hands of the Republicans. Joe Biden is going to be the president come January 6th or whatever day the swearing in is. And so that's a good thing. It's much better than what we've had. And hopefully this will begin the turnaround of America into the direction that the last president, this president we got now, took this country into a very negative depth. And so it's with Biden comes hope that this country will again change around what is the thinking that has been allowed to exist, the negative thinking that has been encouraged under this president with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This will be the beginning of a turnaround. So that's the start. And with that, hopefully will come the stimulus. Right now, New York has been punished severely by the current president so that New York didn't get the money that it badly needed. It was $16 billion in the hole. And that included—
disgusting that this president could do
Yes,
something like that, give to the red states, not give to the blue states. He's never been the president of America. He's
no,
always been just the president of the people who
exactly.
liked him and supported him.
Exactly. So in the state legislature, um, you know, people think, oh, there's money, there's money. There isn't money. The state did not collect excise tax for months from March until about July before it started collecting any. And even then, it was a very small amount because a lot of the stores did not open back up, and certainly could not open back up with 100% participation. So excise tax was not collected. Real estate taxes and water from the smaller buildings, which is much more prevalent than the big boys, the big downtown. They may have the big boys, but in Manhattan, north of 86th Street, there's a lot of small buildings. They couldn't pay their taxes nor their water bills. So the city and the state suffered in the amount of incoming funds, monies that ordinarily would have been taxed was not received. And as a result, the state didn't have the money to give to the city, and the city, you know, had a little bit more than the state did, but 30% or about 35% of the budget comes from real estate taxes. And that's all the small guys. The big boys maybe could pay it. The small ones, you know, weren't able to pay. And so it's been a problem, and we've been having remote hearings because the staff in Albany did not want to be subjected. They could not clean. Albany is so massive, so big. It was impossible to clean all the hallways, all the offices, and it comprises 4 buildings. And so they weren't able to clean all of that when the money was being put, hopefully or supposedly, into cleaning the schools throughout the state, not just downstate, because we're talking about statewide now. We're not talking about just in the city. And so statewide, schools had to be cleaned, extra testing centers statewide, and that's additional costs.
Yes.
Had not been anticipated, that could have been used, or in another time would have been used for education or for health, without getting the input of federal dollars. It couldn't be done this time because statewide, you know, we in the city tend to think it's just the city, but it's the entire state that the state legislature was dealing with, and the funding was just not there. And on the other thing, even on the federal government may have had more money, but each time stimulus is handed out, money is printed. See, people don't understand. Money is printed. And although you get a check or you get money in your pocket, each time it's devalued, meaning each time it's worth less and less. So every time you get a stimulus check or money, it comes into the city or the states nationally, I'm talking about, it's devalued because they print up money, and at some point they can't print up anymore because it'll become like it did in Brazil. Unfortunately, in Brazil, they kept printing up the money till now it's not worth anything. It takes you $15 to buy a bottle of soda. So, you know, we have to understand that everything has ramifications. Each city, each community needs to really listen and become educated on the message that's being driven in their area.
Yes.
You know, so normally we remote hearings and meetings on the most critical, but the thing that we need is on the budget, and there is no budget. So people are hollering, oh, meet on the budget. Well, if we meet on the budget, people are going to be very sorry about what happens in the state now, across the state, because it's really, really not good.
Yeah. This is a situation that is all over the world, unfortunately, now.
Yeah.
Well,
As-
not only with COVID, but with everything that is going on.
And if COVID is rise as expected, then it means other protections have to be put in place.
Mhm.
In addition to the fact that may have a vaccine, and many people are going to be afraid to take that vaccine. Particularly Black and brown people are going to be very suspicious about taking that vaccine because of the problems that have been inherent with vaccines being used upon our bodies
Yeah.
in the and what happened with us health wise caused deterioration and ultimately death. So Black and brown people are very nervous about this vaccine, and nobody can really say whether it works or not. That's why tracking is so important, and a lot of people don't want to discuss tracking, but tracking actually is we used tracking when AIDS first started coming, and it helped. It took a while, but it helped to begin to cause those numbers to go down. Well, it's the same thing. um, Nobody objected to the tracking with AIDS. Well, few people did, but for the most part, and now tracking is necessary again. The pandemic of 1918, they didn't have tracking, so there's nothing to compare with 1918. But in 2020, we do have the means for tracking, so it's very, very, very important that we follow up on that. The vaccine, it's another issue.
The vaccine, I must tell you, I don't think I would take it myself. So
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that very nervous. They don't know whether it's going to work, number one, nor do they know, because this is a brand new thing. They don't know whether it's really going to cause other problems. And that's what happens anytime there's a new vaccine. In the 50s, when they came up with the vaccine for polio, people were, oh, I don't know whether I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it, and then ultimately they did begin to take it, and it saved thousands, if not millions of children from getting polio. So, there's always the fear when a new vaccine is being manufactured, and you're unsure. But this is something we're going to have to overcome, because at some point they're going to have a vaccine if they're going to save the world, actually.
well, I can see right now, for example, when I was in Italy, the summer things were much better. And I just talked to my mother yesterday and my sister today, and they are on a lockdown again. My nephew started to go to school about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And since yesterday, they are back home again, and they are distant learning because the numbers are up, and they need to put a stop to this and track.
That's the fear, Maria, here in New York particularly, but I imagine in other states as well, about the reopening of the schools, the protection of the teachers, the principals, the staff that works in the schools. I was told that there are 2 schools that have been shut down temporarily for 2 weeks for cleaning, because COVID was beginning to rise in those 2 schools here in Harlem.
In fact,
The patch. I haven't verified that, but I put in a call to the Board of Education to verify that is the case, because we need to know. And if it's so, then we need to see how remote learning works. See, the problem is here in New York, for instance, New York City, I'm talking about, and upstate. Upstate doesn't have broadband in a lot of communities. And here in New York City, there are a lot of buildings that don't have Wi-Fi.
And it's expensive.
So it means, how do these kids, even if they have the computer, if they live where there's no Wi-Fi and they don't have a hotspot, then how do they really stay abreast and stay on remote learning? The other thing is that we have not cultivated a system whereby we, as kids, we have not gotten our kids to be able to sit down, unless their parents are there, sitting down and doing remote learning for an entire day. That has not really occurred. We have not gotten um, that down. And I'm not blaming it totally on parents. It's on a cumulative problem, because we can talk about the lack of Wi-Fi. We can talk about whether they have the computer or not. Even though the city gave out massive amounts of computers, it still were many that did not get. And then we can talk about those that do have. Uh, they were not able to sustain any longevity in staying on the screen.
And
And
educated.
and parents are now slowly returning to work, so they're not going to be there, which means somebody else has to be there. So it's very, very difficult. It's a very difficult situation for remote learning, particularly in Black and brown communities. It's very, very difficult for a myriad of reasons. And so I'm very concerned, even though remote learning may be good. I don't know if it's good for Black and brown communities always, because of those reasons that I just gave, about the Wi-Fi, the hotspot, and the technology itself, and as well as the focusing. It requires focusing. And children just inherently are not focused unless someone is there. That's why the classroom worked, because the teacher helped to cause a child to focus. Well, if no one's in the home to help the child to stay focused, what happens? So I am very, very concerned about all of that for all those reasons, and about remote learning. I don't want the staff, I don't want the teachers, I don't want the cleaning staff, administration, or principals, and certainly not families and their children, to be put into a dangerous situation, health situation, of being COVID being on the rise. But at the same time, I also have serious concerns about the remote learning, and how that is affected, and whether our kids will be prepared to take SATs when they get into high school. I do have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and it takes us. I had a Zoom meeting with CEC 5 from District 5, with Dr. Canton as well as others, to have a discussion, Regent Canton, for having a discussion about the reopening of the schools. And I invited the Board of Elections to be, a Board of Education to be on the television, but the Deputy Chancellor came on board, not the Chancellor himself, but we really still didn't get any real answers. And how do we begin to address some of these issues? How do we
be complicated issues?
It is.
It's really a balance, trying to reach a balance between having the kids being able to learn, and at the same time make sure that both them, their parents, and the whole staff in the schools are safe.
And that's the very important. The clean is not just clean by taking soap and water. It means you have to have a real strong disinfectant to clean.
Yeah.
Schools. So it's not just a matter of just going in there and wiping the desk down. It's about the ventilation as well, because they're not sure yet. The medical world is not sure how long it survives, and if it survives on hard surfaces, and if so, how long. I mean, the protocols changed daily when they were giving out information during the height of the COVID, and that has not gone away. So that those are concerns we have to have, because if they don't clean like the airlines did, clean the ventilation systems, then it still could possibly be alive like spores in the vent, and cause additional infections. So it's very costly to do it, and money that was used for that, that would not have ordinarily had to been used had we not had a pandemic, is now gone, and we're not able to put it into libraries. We're not able to put it into hospitals or affordable housing or education. Very difficult, very difficult.
We are not in a good situation. We are in the worst situation that I have been living through in my lifetime anyway, from every point of view, political, economical, health, and so on. But we have to try to end this conversation with some positive notes, okay? And I would like you to give a message to the people who have voted, because America has voted like never before in numbers that I've never seen before, and this is very positive. And we are still counting now, and with all the problems that the guy in the White House always creates, he's trying to create more problems now, saying, do not vote, do not count the votes which are remaining, which are never, you know, this is a democracy.
Say that, but yeah, a presidential candidate say that. But this man is not presidential, so you know we shouldn't expect anything but that. But the count is going to go on. Every vote must be counted in the nation, and those that are American citizens that are residing in the military and outside of the country. So I think that I don't think any states are going to listen to that rant of this man that stopped the count, because that's not going to stop. Every vote must be counted, and it may sway back and forth. It may cause variation, but I am a strong supporter that every vote must be counted, whether paper ballot, whether they went into the polling site, or whether they were military ballots or ballots by expatriates. It's very, very, very important that every vote is counted. On a positive note, and I'm grateful that I was able to get it in just before the pandemic, unfortunately, or fortunately for this. But you know, the National Urban League will be breaking ground shortly, and they will have 177 units of truly affordable housing, of 30% AMI to 80% maximum AMI. And so that means that's for the community. It was a difficult fight to get that amount of subsidy, because that's a high subsidy that will be put into it. But there's going to also be a civil rights museum will be there on the site. The National Urban League will have their headquarters there. The 100 Black Men, the New York chapter is the first chapter that was started by Mayor David Dickens and Congressman Rangel and Basil Patterson, and so that is going to they're going to occupy a space in there at a reduced amount of rent, so that they can continue the good work and the amount of scholarships that they give. And then I was able to get Jazzmobile in there, where they will have space and they don't have to pay any rent at all for the time that they're occupying it, as long as they want to stay there. So that's a positive that came out of just prior to the COVID. We're able to get that, and that's going to be right here at 125th Street or Martin Luther King Boulevard, between Malcolm X and Adam Clayton Powell, between Lenox and 7th. So I am so happy about that. That's a positive that came out of it, and it's set back somewhat because of COVID. Because they couldn't start when they wanted to. They have now closed. And out of that, additionally, we got $12 million that's going to be set aside in the 125th Street Improvement Fund. That's only for new business, can't be used for rent. That you over rent, but it's new business that need help coming into Harlem, coming onto 125th Street, not just Harlem, but it's only for 125th Street. And I'm trying to set up now an advisory board that will oversee that money from the state. And additionally, I'm trying to get that money put into Carver Bank. I'm fighting now to get that into Carver Bank, because I want it in a Black bank.
Yes.
I don't in a bank that already, it's
And a
base
local bank.
is high. I want to increase the capacity of Carver. So I've insisted that it be in Carver. They agreed, but they haven't put the money there. So today I'm getting ready to make a call to them to insist about that and to get the advisory board set up. And in addition, the monies that they are going to be using for the construction loan, I would like to be put in Carver as well. So, I'm fighting for that. They did not agree to that, but I'm asking for that. I see no reason why that, if they can put it in Chase or Citibank, they certainly can put it in Carver.
I totally agree with you. I know you've been fighting for this for a long time because we talked about that last year, a couple of years ago. So very good. Bravo for being able to bring that home. And
Well, hard work. Yeah, we do it together. We do it together.
yes. We are at the end now. We even passed the time, but I'm so glad that I've been able to congratulate you and have you here. And we will reconnect with you after we know for sure the end of the elections and we can really celebrate. Okay?
Well, I want to thank you, Maria. I thank you so much for what you do over the years, what you continue to do. I'm grateful that you've remained safe from COVID, and I pray that my community is not hit like it was at the first spread of the virus, and that if it does come back again, that we're not devastated the way we were.
Right.
So I'm grateful to all of that. I'm grateful to my community, and I thank you. I thank you, Maria.
I thank you, Bella. Thank you so much.
And
Bye-bye.
stay safe.
Thank you
And stay,
for all our viewers. Bye-bye.
all our viewers and those that are not viewers, I want everybody to stay safe.
Yes.
Blessings and peace. Thank you.
Bye-bye.